Awkward.
It's recording.
Sure.
Pardon?
I said, sure.
Sure, we're doing awkwardness. That's what we're doing.
It's always awkward. And the pauses are awkward.
Yeah, they are. And it started awkward, so it really is awkward.
Well, and it's a bit of a, when someone says something, you kind of, for fear of talking over other people, you kind of wait a minute. And then there's this weird awkward pause, which in editing, I can usually get rid of most of them. I take out a lot of awkward pauses. But it's weird when you're talking like that and you're trying not to jump in too quickly in case somebody else wants to say something and you don't. I'm talking about me. I don't want to keep jumping in and being ooh me or whatever, so you just kind of hold back, but then nobody says anything or everybody jumps in and then we're talking over each other and then we all back off. It's weird.
I agree. I don't think we're ever going to get comfortable sitting in front of this camera with it pointing to us and actually looking straight into the lens. I tend to watch people's faces when they're talking to me, so my eyes are all over the place and I look possessed.
No, it's true, because you're talking, so I'm not looking at my camera, which is right there. I'm not looking at that because that's not where your face is. Your face is here in my screen. And then when Cathy's talking, I'm looking over here.
Okay, so now I'm
talking. So
yeah, I've cheated where my camera is. So my camera is literally right over in front of Tracey's face, unfortunately, which is sad because I can't see her expressions, right? And I've done that because I've been looking all over the place and it looks weird. But yeah, so you're looking at Cathy, you're looking at Tracey. Sometimes you're looking at yourself when you're talking, right? It's just different.
Right.
It's also awkward when the dog walks through the door.
Right.
Yeah.
Or the sound is slow, or you have bad internet, or you got double vocals, or you have, let's see, all kinds of, you have grandkids' fingerprints all over the camera.
Yeah.
We are quilters. I am not a sound person or a videographer person. I'm not. I just pretend to play one.
Oh, yeah. And I think that part of the time when we're talking, we're like, people are bringing up great points. So I find myself doing this all the time. I agree with you. Like, I don't know that that's helpful. I don't know that, but yeah.
But life has those awkward moments, right?
Yeah.
I love one of our most favorite comedians is Brian Regan. First of all, a lot of his stuff is he's completely clean and kid friendly. So we've listened to him for years and years and years, but he's a situational comic. And he talks about how you can't handle the YouTube phrase well. There's certain people that can't handle the YouTube phrase. Like you're saying, good luck, but then you say, take care. You're going to say take care, but you cross both of them. Or the YouTube phrase, somebody says, have a great day as you're driving away with my coffee cup. And I'm like, you too. And I'm like, I don't do the YouTube phrase. He's working. He's not having a good day. He's working. Kind of thing, right? The awkward moment.
But you have to say something. You can't just drive away without saying anything. That would be rude.
It would.
Yeah.
But it is. I got to be checked out on the YouTube phrase. The YouTube. Instead of like, have a great day when you're done work.
Hope yours gets better soon.
When you get off.
When you get off.
The Tim Hortons I stop at in the morning when I get down to Whitby before I come to work. There's a young guy that works there. He works the, whatever it is. He's the one who talks to you on the speaker. He's just fabulous. He's young, early 20s, if that. And he's, good morning. Welcome to Tim Hortons. What can I get for you? And I order it and he goes, is that everything? And I say, yep. And he goes, lovely. Like he's just like he's there. And he's there every day. Doesn't matter what day. He's always there in the morning. And I've said to the people at the window when I get there, he's wonderful. Like, I don't know who he is. You can't see him because he's not the guy who passes the stuff out the window. But he's just loving his job.
Right.
Well, that makes you want to go back.
Yeah, but he's just, sometimes he says lovely, sometimes he's like perfect, or, and he's just, I just like him. His mom did a good job. Whoever he is, his mom did a really good job.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. Kind of like when you go to Scooters and they go, scoot on up. That is such a Midwest thing for me now, right? I know I'm in the Midwest when there's a Scooters and I go by because they're so sweet, right? But yeah,
or you have a Midwest friend that says it's Scooter Doodle Day.
Yeah, she does. Every time it's Scooter Doodle, she's like, it's Scooter Doodle Day. Go get a Scooter Doodle. It's a coffee
flavor.
Well, yeah, it's a coffee flavor, but Scooters is a coffee shop in like the Iowa, Nebraska area. I don't really know where they are. That's not a name Tracey would know, unless you've been to Iowa, right?
Well, I went to Iowa once, but I don't remember going to a place like that.
I don't remember seeing one in Des Moines. That doesn't mean that there wasn't one in Des Moines. I don't remember seeing it. There is one that's like in the next parking lot over from the factory now. So, so I tend to go there instead of going into the grocery store to go to Starbucks.
Right. They started in Nebraska and they're moving out.
They're scooting across the U.S.
Good coffee.
Yeah.
It's got definitely a different flavor than Starbucks. I'm just saying, has a different roast to it.
It does. Most definitely. There's a place for both of them in my world. But yeah.
Right. I love having my coffee before I get into the store. Oh.
Yeah, me too. Coffee or tea. I need one of them.
I'm a tea drinker, yeah. I've had at least 4 by the time I get to work. And I drink it all day long, so I'm always caffeinated.
I have to stop about noon.
I either drink coffee or tea 24 hours a day, pretty much. Even in the middle of the night, I usually have a cup of tea sitting next to me. Typically at night, I go to iced tea, but it's not sweetened. It's just tea.
Right.
Yeah. I drink tea right before I go to bed.
Mm-hmm. I know.
I brush my teeth, get into bed. So I'm what?
That's why I like visiting you, Tracey. We go by Timmy's on the way to the hotel.
Very, very rarely do I pass a Tim Hortons drive-through.
True.
Yeah. Just for tea. I don't buy food there, although I bring Peanut to work with me every day. Mm-hmm. And I quite often will get her an egg. I don't know why I don't just make an egg at home, but I'll order just an egg a la carte. And she has an egg when we get here.
Good for her.
Yeah. She likes it. She's getting pretty picky with her dog food now because she much prefers eggs and meat and cheese and chicken and fish. Last night she had salmon. So
wow.
She's liking the human diet.
Yeah. I would think salmon would be good for him because fish is good for him.
Oh yeah, and it's got all those omegas and all the oils in it. So it's good for their coats and all kinds of stuff. But yeah, and she's old, so.
Well, and she's teeny. It's not like my dogs that if I was going to feed them salmon, they'd eat a bigger portion than I would, right?
She just eats little bits. Yeah.
And that's the difference between like your dog's like 15 pounds and mine's 100, right?
Right.
So,
she's 6 pounds, actually.
Oh, she's only 6. I knew she didn't weigh a whole lot.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. She's a tenth of what Ada weighs. So, yeah.
She's smaller than all the cats.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Cathy's dog's big, too. She's got a big dog.
Zeke. So, my granddaughters can now say Zeke because we didn't know they say Zeke when we're in our house. So we were at the in-laws' house, the other grandparents' house on Friday, and they had a dog there, and the twins were up against the window, and Abigail was going, Zeke, Zeke, Zeke. And I'm like, I think she's saying Zeke. That's her first word, not Mama Dada, but Zeke.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
So everybody's like, you guys going to get a dog? And I'm like,
No, not yet. Got to get into the house first. No.
So they're moving into their new house on Monday.
No, that's good. They'll like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
It will be. Talk about awkward moments. Can I tell you the first time as a mom, my awkward moment is we try to really make sure when we work holidays that we try to go either all into our house or all at the outlaws or the in-laws, or they're all at the in-laws or they're all here.
Right.
Well, they were at our house for Christmas Eve when it was our first time having everybody there and babies and everything. And then 8 o'clock in the morning on Christmas Day to make sure they go and head off to the fam, to the other side. They all left at the same time. And I'm like, it's so quiet. It was so quiet. It was eerie quiet. Like I texted the kids going, dang, Howard, I miss you. It was one of the most awkward mommy moments that I had again. It's kind of like, when did that happen? How that happened fast.
Mm-hmm.
So
we do the same thing. We go to my parents one year and Matt's parents the opposite year. And it's always hard. It's awkward telling them, yeah, this isn't your year. Love you, not your year, right? So this year we'll be at my parents for Thanksgiving. We're actually going in the Friday after Thanksgiving. And then we'll be with Matt's mom for Christmas.
Awesome.
So we try. But I mean, it used to be traveling no matter what we were doing, because when we first got married, Matt's parents still lived in Japan. So,
Oh, wow.
Yeah. They were coming home. It was who was visiting us at that point. We're like, Mom, you can't come because, Matt's parents are going to be here, or, because we just had a little teeny house.
So Tracey, we celebrate Thanksgiving. Talk about awkward moment. We're talking about Thanksgiving. Canada does not have Thanksgiving, but you have another holiday around that time, don't you?
We have Thanksgiving.
Okay.
Different.
Ours in October.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So not the November Thanksgiving. You have an October Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awkward.
We have Thanksgiving here.
They do have Thanksgiving.
Well, it's not the same November, whatever, the fourth Thursday in November.
No, it's in the beginning to middle of October, depending on how that
They have a little more space between Thanksgiving and Christmas than we do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we just kind of go from Halloween to Thanksgiving to Christmas to nothing.
What are you talking about? I expect Halloween candy to be in the stores next week. It's not even 4th of July. I expect Halloween candy. It seems like every holiday is getting closer and closer together.
You'll get back to school before you'll get Halloween candy, though.
They all just skip over the next one to get to the next one.
I
went into Costco once in like August or something, and they had Christmas trees up. I turned around and left. I'm like, no.
Right.
It's summertime.
Yes.
You don't want your Christmas tree.
I mean, pretty soon winter coats are going to be coming out because swimsuits are already dead and gone because, that was already, we're in the middle of the swim season, much less. I just laugh at it. Yeah.
Retail just pulls you along. Like, should it just get to the next thing they can sell you more crap for? Like,
I will tell you, that's as a store owner and buying fabric, buying the stuff. First of all, buying 6 to 8 months ahead of time is a unique experience in the first thing. But because of post-COVID and all of the issues we had with ports, this last year we had to buy Christmas, and I hadn't even gotten the Christmas out for that Christmas. So I'm already buying for 2024 when we haven't even gotten 2023 out, or vice versa. It was 2022. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. Well, because you have to put your Christmas fabric out in July so that people can make their Christmas projects, right?
Right.
For December. So the weird thing in what we do, because we're always dealing with holidays in the future, right? Mm-hmm. Everything has to go out way in advance of that holiday for you to be able to make a quilt for Halloween, for Thanksgiving, for Christmas, right? And have it themed that way. And so we kind of have to do it. Costco doesn't. They can sell the candy right before Halloween and people are still going to buy it because they need
don't you,
Halloween
as a fabric shop, like the fabric shop I worked at here, she had all the fabric out all the time.
So yes and no.
Things didn't come out at a certain time of year. There were sections of.
Well, but the Christmas fabric that is being marketed for this Christmas historically has come into stores in June and July, which is why you see a lot of quilt shops do Christmas in July projects, is because the new lines have just shown up.
Right. We just already
got. Yeah, they typically still have the old line for a while too, right? After Christmas and stuff. It's more about the new stuff that's coming out for this year.
Gotcha.
And that's what's hard.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've already had Halloween is already out. So I halfway joked I just did a live and I'm like, here's pumpkins, because we are all thinking pumpkins right now.
It's almost sweater weather. It's almost 100 degrees.
And so it was just a weird concept as a quilter. I mean, not as a quilter, but I get it. My most fun is I love this lady. Christmas, it was like January 15th. She brought in a Christmas quilt because I'm so far behind. I'm like, no, you are not.
You are
way far ahead of the game, sweetheart.
Yeah, we always look at the positive on that one. You did not miss Christmas. You are 12 months ahead.
Yes.
Think how easy it's going to be to get this binding on this one.
Yes.
No
It's true. Just give it to him next year.
Yeah.
You're right.
Then that's a great thing about Christmas. It comes every year. I mean, like graduations don't, but the other side of it is, graduations, you knew that kid was graduated from high school probably 12 years ago.
Oh my gosh. My best moment when Emily was graduating high school. So my oldest is 32 and my twins were 2. When she graduated, she was 18. My twins were 2 at the time. They do this beautiful tradition. They went to an all-girls school. They do this beautiful tradition. And I didn't know this until obviously my first daughter graduated. Will the mother of your last graduating daughter please stand up? Like this very sappy thing. So immediately Emily and I were like, because this is 2008, right? And I looked and I'm like, oh my gosh, 2025. Like everybody's all moms, and Emily and I are like going, oh my gosh.
Mom's still going to be waiting to be able to stand up for another 25 years. So.
I know. I am going to stand up and go, finally. And I'm going to woohoo and all that stuff because they talk about how dignified their graduation is and nobody will be yelling for their children. And it's in the cathedral and it's we are very sophisticated at this graduation. And I'm like, so I looked at Lily and Gracie and I'm like, I'm going to be unsophisticated that day. Sorry, they can't do anything to me after this.
Yeah. I'm not paying them anymore. I'm not paying.
My poor twins. Yeah. I have so many awkward moments in their lives. If we're talking about awkward things, because it's all good stuff. So
I think that's part of being the youngest of a big family. It's always going to be one awkward thing after another.
Right. For sure. Well, yeah.
Like my family is small. It's just me and my sister. My mom's one of 10 kids. So talking to my aunts and uncles about things when they were growing up, it got more awkward as they went down the line, but and they just kind of went with the flow,
All right.
Yeah. I wouldn't know. There's only me and Stephanie. So, nothing was awkward for me. I was the baby of the family. My sister was the princess. I was the baby, and we were both happy.
That's so awesome. And Tracey, you just have one girl, so that must have been fun too.
She's got 2 boys. and a
Right.
girl.
One girl and two good boys. I'm sorry. Didn't mean to leave out the
She's
boys.
three.
I meant the one girl princess. That's all. Sorry.
Melanie didn't get a graduation because we were in the middle of the pandemic.
Same with Greg. Yes.
You want to talk awkward? I mean, they've worked 12 years and they didn't get graduation.
Right.
I mean, from college or from high school. I mean, and like my nephew went through that too. He was in college during COVID, and there was a hurricane to the first year, and it was just like one thing after another. He did not have a normal college experience the entire 4 years he was in college. And there's no redos for those kids.
No.
Like, there's not going to be a high school graduation for Melanie. I mean, not a traditional one. It's just over.
Same with Greg.
No, they did some thing on Zoom where they just posted all the kids' pictures to some stupid sappy music, and she's like, I'm not even watching this, and she got up and left. It was just too much for her, she was, and so many other problems in the world that are so much bigger. But for a girl like her, who from the minute she got to kindergarten, she has always taken school very seriously. She never skipped. She's not a partier. She's focused, and she always wanted to do, she's the kid I'd go to the parent teacher meetings, and they'd say to me, we need to find a way to get her to relax a little bit. Or if she was sitting with me, they'd say, okay, getting a 98 is not a bad thing. Right. But she would focus on the one question she got wrong that would take it, you know what I mean? To the point where, so, I mean.
And so she was focused on graduating from high school because it was a milestone, right?
Absolutely.
And watched her brothers both graduate, right? Because they're enough older than she is that she was at their graduations and was in high school herself for the last one, wasn't she?
Yeah.
So they were, she knows it wasn't normal, right?
Oh,
so,
yeah. And she did her first 2 years of university online from her bedroom.
Yeah.
Which also was not what she's waited for university since grade 1.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So.
And that's what I'm saying. I understand that there were big issues and that we needed to deal with the issues. But I think we also need to deal with the fact that we've got, 5 years of graduation, right? That this is going to affect, right? And I don't know, we can't make it up for them. There's no way that we can make up for that.
No.
But I think that employers, when we're looking at people, need to be a little more understanding that they may not have all the skills that we want or need because of when they graduated, and cut them slack and try to help them, right? Because the big thing with my nephew was he couldn't do an internship because he couldn't get an internship. He actually could not interview for one on anything but Zoom. And then the one that he interviewed for on Zoom ended up being a pyramid scheme. I'm like,
oh, wow.
And so it was just, it's a situation where they're not going to have the skill set that kids that graduated from the same school 3 years before that have.
Right.
And as a community, we need to find a way to help them get that skill set. Oh,
I think we have repercussions from all of that for the next 10 years. In so many ways, both our people who are lonely and are home by themselves, our kids who miss out on so many things. My little grandson, who's 3, they're taking him to, so he goes to therapy with his baby brother.
Mm-hmm.
But they're all like, oh, I think we need to evaluate him because he won't sit still. Well, first of all, he looks like he's 5, but then he's only 3. But he was also in a part where we weren't socialized at all. Like no going to the grocery store, no going nowhere. So we have this whole, I think we have decades of dealing and helping and learning.
And I don't know if they've talked about this much in Canada, but one of the big things that we're seeing a lot of articles written on in the area that I live in right now is kids that are terrified to go to school. I mean, and I mean they have severe anxiety over walking through a school door.
Right.
Because, the first 4 years, first through fourth grade, they weren't in a school all the time, right? So now you're looking at like a middle schooler that really has not been in a traditional school for whatever reason.
Right.
And I think it's going to be long-term ramifications, right? And I don't know the answers. I don't even have kids. I don't know the answers, right?
Well, and I think we're going to be worrisome, but I also think we got 3 different areas of the world here.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
We have Tracey, who was locked down the longest, and you were the second longest, and we were a blip on the screen for being, quote, locked down. Yeah. So totally 3 different situations.
Yeah.
And there's going to be a million of those. So
yeah,
I'm just glad that's kind of behind us, because I really felt my fear was for all of the people who were by themselves. And we have so many people in the quilting world who are by themselves.
Well, that's why my mother-in-law lives with me now. Right? Because she was there by herself in her apartment. And I'm like, yep, nope. I told my husband one day, I'm breaking her out. I couldn't handle it. She was doing fine. I couldn't handle it. Because they had no social stuff going on for them at all. They had to stay in their apartment. Food was delivered to their apartment. It's not a way to live. And it's not a way to live when you've been social for the first, 80 years of your life. Right. So yeah, but we have a lot of quilters that we probably don't even know that they still aren't having interaction with people.
I will say the nice thing is we were still able to get fabric to them, and they could still get some stuff that they could then as a long armor, it was fabulous because they were busy and they had all of this free time.
Yeah.
Kind of this time.
Yeah, we figured out ways to, get quilts quilted for people. And as soon as they said that you could do curbside pickup in North Carolina, I was like, we can do that. We can just model it after a restaurant. And if they say something, say we're in the in a service industry, just like a restaurant is a service industry, and we'll do contactless payment and put their quilts in their trunks, right? So we started quilting immediately. Well, 6 weeks in, right? But yeah,
everybody's different. I mean, that's a different situation too. There are some cities that were pretty locked down, and Canada was pretty locked down, right, Tracey?
Canada was locked down. Yeah.
Yeah. So again, it's a different world from the different of us. You want to hear something funny about graduations? My son, they did finally. Well, first of all, what I felt really bad for the kids here in Nebraska is we were open one day at school, and then over that weekend, they then decided to completely close down the schools, and the kids never even got to say goodbye to each other, kind of thing. Yeah. They did have a graduation at one of a parent paid for, but they were supposed to stay 3 feet apart. But 18-year-old boys were this button and doing all this other stuff. But here's the crazy thing. They would not let groups of bigger than 5 sit next to each other. So my family of 10, if my household had COVID, I had one family on this side of the arena and another side of the family over there on the other side, because the family could not sit together. Yeah.
That's awkward. That's awkward. Right? That's awkward. Well, we had this whole pod thing going on here where you could create a pod but you couldn't do anything outside of your pod. So like my pod was family, but it was not family that lived in my house necessarily, right? But once we were a pod, you could say, oh no, we're a pod, and then you could all be together wherever you were, right? So yeah, it was weird.
Like a group of orcas.
So yeah, because we were going around like we were eating like orcas too. So it was just bad. There's that awkward side too. So,
oh, what we think we're doing good when you look back and kind of go, huh, that's all. I mean, I look back at my own life and going, I thought I was doing, never mind. That was a bad choice.
Never mind. I was baking bread and I thought it was making me feel better, but really I was just eating a lot of carbs. Just really. Oh well. But yeah.
Well, speaking of awkward, should we probably awkwardly end this?
Tracey's just sitting there like, oh, I'm just sitting here going, you guys just keep going.
Just listening.
Yeah. We do that a lot during this. And that's part of the awkwardness, right? Is that, you know, we start laughing and somebody's usually just sitting there not laughing. Right?
I tried really hard while I was listening not to chew my lip. Because I do that when I'm listening. I didn't know I did that when I was listening until I started editing these things. And I tried really hard not to touch my hair.
I need to
stop. And I did nothing but that today. You mentioned that, and now I'm like, wah!
Well, okay, my big thing is I didn't pick my drink up.
I can't even reach my water bottles over there, way over there.
I was trying to set it way away from me so I wouldn't be picking it up because I tend to drink a lot. It's just tea. It's iced tea, right? But still.
There, see, I just bit my lip. I guess it doesn't matter. I mean, I don't want to be something I'm not.
Right.
So
well, no. And that's one of the things that I think is important to all three of us is that we be genuine and if it's awkward, be honest about it. But feeling awkward and knowing that things are coming off awkward, we're still out here trying. And I think that's the thing to get out of this is when you do feel awkward, that doesn't mean it's time to stop necessarily. If you love doing what you're doing, keep doing it.
Right.
Lean in.
You know?
And sometimes we grow and we do something new.
Yeah. And sometimes you decide, being in front of a camera isn't for me. That's okay too, right?
Yeah. So we don't have a choice anymore.
We don't have a choice anymore. Yeah. We have a pact. All three of us show up. We do this. We do.
Well, and I love that the fact that we can be just real and what you get is what you get. And you never know what's going to blurt out of our mouths. And it'd be kind of fun just to listen to the end because you just never know.
No, let's be clear. I'm very careful with what comes out of my mouth. Remember, I'm the one who shouldn't never be put on speakerphone. I posted a meme yesterday on Facebook and it got a lot of laughs. It's a picture of a little duck and he's got this look on his face like, and it says, "Dear autocorrect, it's never duck. It's never duck." And I posted it and yeah.
I did see that. It was pretty funny.
The friends that are commenting underneath, they're like, well, they all know me. Never duck.
I give a thumbs up. I'd be the other one going, it's autocorrected me to duck too, so don't feel bad.
However, speech to text does not seem to autocorrect me as if I'm typing. So speech to text works too, although speech to text has also gotten me into a fair amount of awkward situations because it changes words and you got to learn to read that before you hit send.
I didn't say that. That wasn't what I was saying. I don't know what it was doing, right?
Yeah, right. I've got my most famous story, but I won't tell that on this podcast.
You're good. That's a secret. Secret. Some things are good for secrets.
Yep. Yeah. So
just like I think quilters love their secrets that I tell them every time when they're wiggle stitching and they say, "Oh, it's not perfect." I'm like, "Oh, the quilters love secrets because that's going to hide in the binding." So we have our other secrets. How does that sound, Tracey?
Sure. Sounds good.
All right. Well, this has been fun. Thank you for hanging out. It was been awesome. And thumbs up, please. Share and subscribe.
And
comment. What about you? Awkward moments? Tell us in the comments below. We'd love to hear so we don't feel so alone.
Yeah, we like comments because we don't feel alone.
Right. Especially the awkward one might be kind of fun. It might be very exciting to listen to and watch. Read.
Here's a quick awkward moment. Some guy came in. He must have been an insurance salesman or something. I don't know. And the shop was busy. I had a guild here doing Quilts of Valor for the day. So he wanted to talk to the person who runs the place. So I went up there, and I don't have time. I don't know who you are. I don't have time. If you're here for about quilting, I can help you. Anyways, he was telling me who he was, and I can't remember or whatever, something to do with insurance or investing or something. And it just seemed an odd thing to come into just some random business about. And he said to me, he asked me a couple questions, and I was kind of answering. And then he says, well, what about a retirement plan? Like, have you got a retirement plan in place? I said, yeah, a casket. And
Ding, 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 ding. We're at that point of the video when Tracey says.
And he just looked at me like, he didn't say anything for like 15 seconds. He goes, okay, well, if there's anything I can help you with, here's my card.
Do you sell caskets? No, sorry.
But I was being serious. Like, I wasn't even.
He's going to go to the next sales thing and go, how do you counteract this one?
Yes.
Welcome.
You're welcome. See?
Here's a learning moment for you.
Yeah. You ever ask a quilter who's stressed out what their retirement plan is? Because they're weird. Like,
well, now we can get people just to listen to the end.
There you go. You're welcome.
you're welcome.
Awesome. Well, thank you, ladies. I hope you have a phenomenal rest of your day.
You as well.
You too.
All righty. Have
All
a
right.
good one. Bye-bye.
Bye.